evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Bat Around. I'm your host, Paul Valley. With me, as always, from Big Town Sports, he is Zach Moore. Today's show brought to you by Help My Gambling Problem. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. Zach, haven't seen you in 2 weeks. I've only seen you once in like the last month because I think you missed the show before that one, man. How you been? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Got the summer back now. Baseball is finally over with the kids. Football starts tomorrow. So I got my week off and been trying to dissect some baseball, man. It's been an up and down month for the O's. I mean, we've both been in and out watching a little bit as we can, but a 10 and 11 month so far.
Yeah, 10 and 11 months, which is a little bit better than what I was anticipating. I guess playing 3 straight games against the Rockies will cure what ails you, kind of, I guess. Do you coach football too?
Yep, unfortunately. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but it's like I get no breaks.
Oh, I got you. What position do you coach? Are you a head coach or what do you do?
Head coach, yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you play growing up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a while. Cool.
What position? I heard you're fast. I heard you're like crazy fast.
Yeah, I played all over. I mean, defense, I played safety and defensive end. Offense, I played mix between tight end, quarterback, running back, and then I was also the kicker.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to football. Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I hope that you have a great football season ahead for you. Hopefully a lot better than this Orioles baseball season has been. But hey, look, they've won 2 games in a row. They lost that first game against the Rockies. And like, you're feeling like they come home after playing, Tampa Bay and Cleveland, and they drop 5 of 7 on the road. And you're just like, man, coming out of the All-Star break, and they just get the brakes beaten off of them. But hey, coming home, you're playing the Rockies, jump out to a 4-0 lead, and then Dean Kramer just doesn't have it. He gives up 5 runs in 5 innings. Didn't have it on Friday night. It was a back and forth game after they took that 4-0 lead. The Orioles went down 5-4. They tied it back up. Then they go down 6-5. They couldn't get a run home despite a leadoff double there in the was that the 8th or the 9th inning? I think it was the 8th inning. Tyler O'Neill was on second base, and they couldn't even get him over, let alone get him in. And you're just sitting there, you're like, really? This is historically the worst team in baseball. Historically the worst team in the history of baseball. And you're going to lose a ball game to them after leading 4-0. But then they come out and they do something historic on Saturday.
I was there. Yeah, it was wild.
Dude, awesome game to go to. They score, 9 runs in the 8th inning, 9 runs in the 7th inning. In the 7th inning, they score 18 runs. It's the largest margin of victory in a shutout in team history, winning that game 18-0. Trevor Rogers gives you 7 innings and 1-run ball. I watched him in that first inning when he struck out the side, and I'm like, he might strike out 15 tonight. Like, he was that good, and Colorado looked that bad in that game. And the Orioles also set a major league record. They had 12 different batters bat in that game. All 12 hitters had a hit and a run score. No team in the history of the game has ever done that. So they lose to a historically bad team on Friday, and then they just bludgeon them on Saturday in a historic fashion. And then they come out today, and we know this Orioles team. This Orioles team, if they score double-digit runs in one game, the next game they're scoring 2 runs on 4 hits, right? Yep. And that's if they're lucky. But they go out there, they score. They scored early, and then they scored 1 run late on Gunnar Henderson. Man, on a wild pitch, Gunnar Henderson scores from second base. Yep. We've seen that happen to the Orioles more times than we care to admit. And so for the Orioles to do it to somebody else, it was nice. And look, you don't want to get too hyped up because, they won the series. They came back and they won that series, and it really wasn't in question after yesterday's game and the way they started the game today. Sagano looked really good, gave you 7 innings of 1-run ball, or was it 6 innings? I think it was 6 innings. 6 innings of 1-run ball today. He looked the best he's looked probably since the end of April, but it's the Rockies. How much can you?
I'll touch on that just for a second here because I'm actually looking at their July record. Now they're 8-13 this month, but I'm looking back since July 11th. Right? They played Cincinnati. They lost the series to Cincinnati. They won the first game 3-2, lost the second 4-3, and then lost the next game 3-4 or 3-2. Then they go home against Minnesota, playing pretty good this year, and win the series. And then they go home against St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis is a little bit of a skid right now, but they win that series. And then they come to Baltimore, and they win the first game. And I'm like, maybe they're turning a corner a little bit. And then all of a sudden, we made them look like the Rockies again. But since pretty much, I'm looking down at the entire month outside of the Boston series, they've kept every loss close. Stop. So the beginning of the month, they lost to the Astros by 1. Then they lost by 2. Then they won by 1. They lost to the White Sox by 1. They lost to the White Sox by 7. That's their worst one right now. Lost to the Red Sox by 4. Lost to them by 8. Okay, so, and then 2 days in a row they lost by 8. So that was their worst ones. And then it was just losing by 1 or 2 runs every game for less of the month. They're playing okay baseball. They're still the worst team in probably history, but they weren't being the typical Rockies this month. I mean. And the Orioles they put it to them.
There's something to be said though, because one, you look at the division that they're in. They've got the Dodgers, they've got the Giants, they've got the Padres, and Arizona before everybody got hurt.
Nope.
It's not an easy division to be in when you're not a very good baseball team,
right?
And we can talk about how their record says that they're on pace to be the worst team in baseball history. Their run differential is like negative 264. It's nuts. But look at the teams they have to play. And then you find out, and I heard this on Friday on the radio on the way home from the beach, 11-57 coming into this series against teams above 500. That is awful.
Yeah.
So then when you think about it, they came into the series 26-56. That means that they're 15-19 against teams below 500. One, they've only played 34 games against sub-500 teams. That's bananas over 100 games into the season. That's insane. 34 games against losing teams, that's it. And the fact that they've been respectable. I mean, if the Orioles were 15-19 at some point this year, we would have been happy with that, right? Because they were not. 15-19 against teams that are sub-500. It shows that they're holding their own at least against teams that are supposed to be bad baseball teams. So maybe the Rockies, and they've got some hitters. They can't pitch worth a lick, but they've got some hitters. Maybe the Rockies aren't as bad as we think. Now, look, 11-57 against sub-500 team. I mean, against teams above 500. That's terrible. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. But the fact that when they play teams that are more on their level or maybe just a little bit above them, that they're holding their own kind of shows that their record is a little misleading. And we're not going to sit here and say, oh, well, it was a tougher series for the Orioles because the Rockies really aren't that bad. You are what your record says you are. And the Rockies right now are 27-78. Like, you're bad. But I don't know that they're as bad as the White Sox were last year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now. I mean, you take that Saturday game out. I'm trying to do some math here. I'm not very good at math. You take Saturday's game out. So, say they don't even play that game. In 20 games this month, they would have had a run differential of negative 21.
Okay. That's losing a bunch of one-run ball games.
That's what I'm saying. So coming into this series, they weren't terrible. I mean, they were keeping. That's a very young baseball team over there, very young. And I know that we kind of tatted up that guy on Saturday, but I watched him live, and he was sitting 96, touching 98. Ball was moving a little bit. Sometimes it was right down the middle, and we tattooed it. But that's a guy that you can build off of. I mean, how often are you finding a guy who throws 98 miles an hour as a starter? Like, they have some pretty decent young players that might be able to kind of get them through a rebuild kind of thing. I don't know if they're going to be good anytime soon, but they hustled. They had those overthrows on Saturday. That was bad. But I mean, for the most part, they made the plays they were supposed to make. They took fairly competitive at bats, and Trevor Rogers was on his game. And I mean, it's tough to argue when you look at the numbers deep. Yes, you can look at their record and realize they're bad, but I mean, the whole month here, they've been keeping some games close. Now, granted, like I said, they lost a couple in a row. -7, -6, -8, -8, and then all the rest of them are between 1 and 2. And they
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that the Orioles shouldn't have swept them. The Orioles probably should have swept them. But I felt like those last two games, the Orioles played like they should have played all season. They played sound, fundamental baseball. They were hitting it well. They were hustling like we saw today. It was just a different looking team the last 2 days.
Well, and again, hopefully you can see the cat behind me just hanging out literally on top of a chair on like a 3-inch space, because that's what cats do. But no, and that's the thing. The Orioles played fundamentally sound baseball, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. If you catch the ball, you throw the ball, and you pitch well, you're probably going to win. You're probably going to win more than you lose, and it makes you wonder. You have the confidence that this is a team we should beat. Yeah. And then you also have the thought in your mind, we just lost to this team on Friday. Like, we just lost to this team to make 6 losses in 8 games since the All-Star break. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And that had to be resonating through that clubhouse, because you saw them play yesterday and again today with a fire that we really haven't seen them play with. You saw Kobe Mayo slide head first on that 2-run base hit. In what was that, the second inning? On the 2-run base hit, he slides head first, and he looked pumped up, and he looked amped to have scored that run there. And really on a play where most third base coaches, I feel like, hold the runner. So credit to Buck Britton on sending him, because the left fielder got to that ball quickly before Mayo even got to third base, and he scored on that. And then you saw Gunnar score on a wild pitch, scores from second base, and he was jazzed up after sliding across home plate, fired up to get that insurance run, which is something the Orioles have struggled to do, put insurance runs up on the board.
Yep.
And you have to imagine that they were kind of sitting there after Friday's game, and they were like, dudes, we know it's been a bad season, but we just lost a game to the 26 and 76 Colorado Rockies. This cannot happen again.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to that. And I've really enjoyed seeing them play with that fire and that tenacity. It doesn't hurt that Tyler O'Neill is finally doing what the Orioles have paid him to do. Maybe too little too late with this deadline coming up. But they seem to be playing better baseball. And you look at that series against Cleveland, right? The first game, they lose that game 10-5. They scored 3 runs on 4 hits in the first inning.
Yeah.
And then they had a 5-3 lead in the third inning, and they lose that game 10-5. Then they lose a ball game 6-3, where I believe they had tied it up at 3 at one point. Then they lose a ball game 3-2. They are this close to at least splitting that series, if not taking 3 or 4 from Cleveland. And they had the same situation happen in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay didn't run them out of their ballpark.
Right.
These games were close, and it's like you can tell that the Orioles this year have been more unlucky than just straight bad. There's been bad. There has been bad. But there's been a lot of unlucky stuff that has happened. And you add on top of that the injuries. It just feels like a cursed season.
Yeah.
Rather than a season where this team just is really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I hate to even admit this, but bad teams find a way to lose. And the Orioles have found a lot of ways to lose this year, a lot of crazy different ways. I don't want to call this team a bad team because we know the talent level that's on the roster, but they've played like a bad team pretty much all year. Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to Sagano, I mean, they had to ask, I think Andy Costa of the Baltimore Banner asked him last start, like, hey, are you tipping your pitches? And he said yes. Like, and then he comes out today and goes 6 and gives up 1. Mm-hmm. Like, why does it take you that many starts to realize that you're potentially tipping your pitches? Right. I mean, like, it's the little bit of fundamental stuff, like our defense this year in certain times, not throwing to the right base, overthrowing cutoff guys, or, just trying to rush. And then like the base running mistakes this year have been brutal. I don't think the Rockies, as bad as they are, make as many base running mistakes as we do. Like, it's a lot of fundamental crap. Like that throw to home in the Tampa series from Ryan O'Hearn, who gets the error, but Soto runs in front of him. Like, just stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, bad teams find a way to lose. And I think I have to finally admit that this is just a bad team this year. And a lot of it is, I think a lot of it is curse, just because we didn't see this team make those kind of mistakes for the last couple of years. But when it all goes bad, it seems to snowball, doesn't it?
It really does. And I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I'm looking at this team, and it's like they're not gonna trade away their core. They believe that they're gonna come back and contend next year. And Kyle Bradish, 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. It's against high A competition, right? So it's not
like throw the ball down the middle of the plate. They're gonna hit it though.
Yeah, and he was 96, 97 in his first start since Tommy John surgery. I mean, that gives you a lot of hope.
I'm going to be there Tuesday when he's pitching in Bowie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's military appreciation, and my buddy has tickets. He asked me to go with him, so I'm pretty excited to see that one. The O's play, a doubleheader on Tuesday against Toronto?
Yeah. That's the 29th, right? Yeah, they have a doubleheader that day.
Be a lot of baseball that day.
Dude, you know what? Enjoy yourself, man. I had an opportunity to potentially play 3 baseball games. I ended up only being 1 because of rainouts and my wife threatening to kill me. But it was if I want to do as much baseball as I can, especially during the summer months, because you'll blink and it'll be November and you'll be longing for baseball, right?
Yep.
But the team is just. I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I was like, man, they've got a lot of holes. They've got to fill.
They do.
They've got a lot. They're gonna and maybe this is an exaggeration, but I don't think it's too far off. Is it? Do you think it's inaccurate to say they may have to spend upwards of $500 million in the offseason if they want to get back to contention? Because
you
have to. They've got to replace Soto. They've got to replace Kittredge because he's probably getting traded. Same Dominguez. Thing with Dominguez, right? And then Sagano, Morton's gone. Morton Eflin is 100% gone. Eflin may stick around.
He's a free agent.
Well, that's true. So you got to replace probably three starters.
Ryan O'Hearn.
You got O'Hearn's gone. Mullins is gone. The lineup, I'm not too concerned about. And the sooner we get Beavers and Basayo up here to see what they can do and get them ready to play next year, the better.
Yeah.
But you have to find a legitimate middle of the order bat. You can't depend on that to be Tyler O'Neill again. You probably have to find 5 relievers for your bullpen. If we're being realistic, 5 relievers for your bullpen.
Realistically, you probably let go of Cano too.
Yeah, and then you have to sign 3 legitimate starting pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to probably sign 6 starting pitchers in the offseason.
And you can't trust Grayson.
Because you can't trust Grayson. So legitimately, you're looking at Kyle Bradish and Trevor Rogers and Dean Kramer. But you've got to sign. Can you depend on Bradish? You can't think of that Bradish is going to give you 180 innings next year.
It's going to be tough.
That's going to be tough. You can't expect any. I'm more prone to think that Grayson's going to have some kind of surgery before I think he comes back and can pitch consistently for you. Post up every 5th day. So you probably need 3 legitimate starters to be signed in the offseason. Another 3 for organizational depth. You can't fool yourselves into thinking that Tyler Wells is going to replace somebody in that bullpen. I don't think that. I think that the Orioles have to be smart and look at him as a reliever.
I think he probably takes over Cano's spot. That 5th, 6th, maybe 7th inning guy. That kind of like a swing guy who can pitch multiple different style of innings just because of his attitude. I think he's a bulldog that can handle it all.
And that's the other thing is how much are they going to bank on getting Wells back and having him be a significant piece in the bullpen? How much are they going to bank on Suarez coming back and being a significant piece, right?
And I say that because they bank on this core of the offense to pick it up and do it, and they haven't. Don't take this the wrong way. They've performed well in the regular season in 23 and in 24, but when the going gets tough outside of July or June of 2024, this offense kind of poops the bed, so to say. They poop the bed when it matters. I agree with you. You may need 2 middle order bats. You really haven't had a 3 and a 4 hole hitter in a long time. Gunnar is last year looked like a 3-hole hitter. This year, he's looking more like a 2-hole hitter. Mm-hmm. He's not driving the ball. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's hitting 280 plus. He's driving the ball to the gaps or whatnot, but that's not a 3-hitter. 3-hitter hits the ball over the fence. So you got to find yourself one. And 2 of them.
you look at your 3-4 hitters this year so far to this point, Gunnar and O'Hearn, they have 24 home runs between the two of them.
Right.
If like the major league leader has 41, and they've got 24 home runs between the two of them. And I'm kind of sick of saying it, but I think it has to be said. And I posted this. It got a little bit of traction on Twitter the other day. Is there any way that Cody Ashley, Sherman Johnson, and Tommy Joseph keep their jobs?
No.
Beyond this year. Because every single hitter in this lineup that was here last year has regressed.
Yeah.
Every single hitter.
So here's the funny part. Our 3 and 4 spots in the lineup is 4th best in the league with a 280 average, which sounds good, right? Guess what they are to RBIs? 24th with just 101.
Yeah.
And then in home runs, like you were saying, they've hit that spot in the order, not those two particular guys, but just those two spots are 21st with 28 home runs. Oh. I hate cats. That's why.
she started to fall off the. She started to fall off, and she grabbed a hold of my shoulder.
Yep.
To little sidebar here. My daughter's 18 months old, and she has in the last week alone, she has dropped my phone on my face. That happened today, and she's hit me in the nuts 3 times. And each time that I react, it's like it hurts. She cries her eyes out.
Yeah.
So somehow I get hurt, and then the little girl cries, and then this cat just dug her claws right into my back. So I'm living my best life right now.
So here's a good one for you too. Remember they said Jackson Holiday will never come out of the leadoff spot?
Mm-hmm.
So the 1 and 2 spots in the lineup right now are ranked 27th in baseball at a 235 average. And they are 5th with 221 strikeouts. San Diego being the best at just 119.
Well, and that's the thing. Like Jackson Holiday's he's having a nice year. He's 21 years old. Let's not forget he won't be 22 till December. He's having a nice year. His on base percentage is .313. His OPS is .733, which is fine. His OPS plus is 106. Now he's tied for the team lead in home runs. He's hitting .263. I think he's been caught. I think he's been caught stealing as many times as he's actually stolen a base.
8 or 9, right?
Off 5 times. He has been caught stealing. Yeah, 9 stolen bases, 8 caught stealing this year.
And I believe caught stealing is also when you're picked off. So he's been picked off 4 times?
Something like that. Least. Yeah, at least. And before that, it was Gunnar hitting leadoff, and then you have Westberg has not done well at all batting leadoff. They had Calcher do it a couple of times, and he didn't look great doing it. Holiday is going to be a star in this league. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The progression from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 4, he's going to be a star. I'm not worried about that. But the bottom line is that the offense in general has just not given them nearly enough.
No,
this year when your team leader in home runs is a 21-year-old kid who got demoted last year,
right?
And your guy who's supposed to be your 4th outfielder, and they lead your team in home runs. There's a serious problem.
Yeah,
there's a serious problem, and a lot of it, in my opinion, is that there's nobody to protect these big hitters. There's nobody there to protect Gunnar and Westberg and Holiday in that 4-hole. When teams come in, like Ryan O'Hearn's had a fine season. He was an all-star for a reason. He's had a fine season. But when people see Gunnar Henderson batting and Ryan O'Hearn anyone deck circle, they're not like, oh man, I better not put Gunnar on base. They're thinking, I'm gonna make my pitch, and if I get him to swing, he swings. If he doesn't swing, whatever, because I'm not scared that O'Hearn's gonna tank 450 feet. They're not scared of that. And so like they legitimately need, and Ryan Mountcastle, what's he? I think he had another 2 hits today. I think he's like 7 for 12 on his rehab stint. Nobody's scared of him either. Nobody, and he's coming back.
He was your hitting 3-hole for the last 2 years.
Yeah, like you don't have somebody on this team outside of Gunnar that anybody's scared of. And Gunnar, he's hitting the ball in the 99th percentile, but it's all on the ground.
Yeah,
he's rolling over a lot. They got to get some bats to the middle of this order to protect these guys. And watch you get it. You sign a Pete Alonso or a Kyle Schwarber, and then watch what numbers Westberg and Holiday and Gunnar put up.
Oh, for sure. I thought this was interesting here. So the number 1 and 2 spots in the order for the season are ranked 28th with a 683 OPS. Since Adley Rutschman's been down, they're 7th with a 799 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
So you get him out of the 2-hole and they're okay.
Yeah. Well, and that Westberg has been primarily your number 2 hitter.
Yeah.
And I mean, he would probably be leading this team by 5 or 6 home runs if he hadn't gotten hurt. So, and that's the difference between he and Rutschman. And Rutschman, man, what's he got? 2 hits on his rehabs. And I know you're not really too concerned about that, but if he comes up and he slides right back in the 2-hole, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And do you think that's what's going to happen when he
100%,
comes back up?
100%.
He's got to be hitting 7th on this team. I hit him behind Mayo at this point.
Yeah.
You know? I do want to talk a little bit about Mayo. I want to remind everybody today's show brought to you by Glenn Clark Radio. If you missed anything from Glenn Clark Radio this week, including conversation with Caden Bodine, Tim Kirkchin, and Fred Manford, you can find those and many more in the Glenn Clark Radio Week in Review feature at PressBoxOnline.com. And as always, watch or listen to GCR every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. at PressBoxOnline.com/radio or right here on PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages. Kobe Mayo. Got on base 4 times, sat the next day. Then he gets hit by a pitch, gets a hit in a game, sits. Hits a home run, gets pinch hit for. Today he was allowed to play the whole game, had a couple of hits, including a rocket for a double, scored a big run for the Orioles early in the ball game.
2 games in a row.
Yeah, and it looks like they've changed his stance and his swing a little bit. And this goes back to what you've been saying all along about how his hands drop, come up, and then drop again, the little bit of the hits he had in his swing. And it's a noticeable difference. Talk just a little bit about the change they made with Kobe Mayo, his swing, and if it gives you any kind of confidence moving forward. Because he looks to me like he's become a big league player over the last.
Yeah, I think his confidence is starting to come around. And when you get that as a big league player, it's all downhill for everybody else after that. They stood him up a little bit higher. He was down in that crouch a little bit, so I think they shortened his stance up just a little bit. And he seems to be like he's starting a little bit earlier. He was really late. It was almost like he was starting his stride after the ball was released. Now you can kind of tell he's starting that stride as it's being released. But when you talked about the hands were coming from here. They started about here, and they would come down to about here, and then they would go back up. And now they're starting here and they just go straight back. They dip a little bit. I mean, it's just natural, I think, for him. But they're going to correct that eventually. But it goes down, not as much, and then straight back. But what I noticed in that video that Jacob Calvin-Meyer posted, when you freeze frame a certain point, when that front foot gets down, now he's sitting like this. He's in a hitting position. He has that pause that he should. Where in the other one, when that toe's in, his hands are still here, and he still has to go back and then swing. So they're getting him in a better hitting position faster, and you're going to start seeing Kobe Mayo hit a lot of balls over 100 miles an hour here, as long as he keeps replicating that.
Yeah, the swing looks better. He looks more confident. He's getting on base more. And somebody noted this the other day, and it's a true testament to him that he's getting such limited plate appearances over the last month, and yet he's still going up there and he's taking his walks.
Yeah,
he's not getting over eager, trying to prove himself on every at bat. He's taking what's coming to him, and he's seeing more pitches, and he's getting on base more. And that's a testament to, the way that he's approaching his game. And hopefully this is a sign of things to come for him. That O'Hearn's going to be out of here in the next 4 days. I imagine that he's going to be out of here in the next.
I have a little feeling that O'Hearn might be gone tomorrow.
Okay. So we're pretty sure that Ryan O'Hearn, like 99% sure Ryan O'Hearn's going to be gone. We know Mountcastle's coming back, but with Mountcastle, you can play Mountcastle at first base and you can DH Mayo. O'Hearn is really the key cog in getting Mayo more playing time. But then you have to worry about getting Basayo up here. They say they have a plan for Basayo. I don't know what that is. I don't really trust it because we've seen what their plans have done in the past. But Mayo should be getting more playing time in the next few days. Was happy to see him in the lineup 2 days in a row. I don't feel like that's happened too often recently since June. But yeah, he looks a lot more confident at the plate.
Yeah.
Now, Dean Kramer. Rogers was phenomenal yesterday. Sagano was phenomenal today. Sagano threw 3 of his 8 fastest pitches of the season. I'm sorry, 5 of his 8 fastest pitches of the season in today's first inning. he looked really good. Rogers has been absolutely phenomenal. In fact, Sean Whipple said, "Is it time we start realizing this is a real Trevor Rogers? 48 and a third innings pitched, 149 ERA, and 8 starts."
Did you hear his response to that?
I did not.
I loved it. They asked him that question if it's time to start realizing that this is who he is, or if this is just some kind of fluke. And he admitted it. He said, baseball can humble you quickly. And this could be a fluke. This could be who I am, but I'm going to continue to work hard every day so that I can make this more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have asked for a better answer.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was obviously the words were a little bit different because I don't remember 100%, but that was the scheme of it.
Yeah, he could have easily told everybody to shove it and been like, yeah, this is who I am, and you guys are finally seeing it. Last year sucked for me. No, that's the appropriate response. Right now I feel good. Who knows how long it'll last? I'm going to keep working to make sure that it lasts as long as possible.
Basically what he said. Yep.
Yeah. Dean Kramer. Somebody gave me a lot of crap last week because they said that I have this weird shtick where I hate on Dean Kramer. And I don't hate on Dean Kramer. Dean Kramer can be really, really good. And we'll see him go out there and have a 5-start stretch where he pitches to a 2.30 ERA. And then he'll go out against a team like the Colorado Rockies, walk 2 guys, and immediately give up a 2-run homer after each walk.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes out against the worst team in baseball, and he gives up 5 runs in 6 innings. And I said to this person, it's not that I don't think Dean Kramer is a good pitcher. It's that there's no middle ground with him. He is either 6 or 7 innings of 2 runs or less, or 4 to 6 innings of 5 runs or more. There is no middle ground. He's not giving you 6 innings of 3-run ball. Right. He's not giving you 7 innings of 4-run ball. He's giving you 7 innings of 1-run ball or 5 innings of 5-run ball. There's nothing in between. And that's what's so infuriating, because it's like, what does he need to do to harness the good more often than not? Because when he's bad, he's bad. They don't win those games, generally speaking.
Right.
He gave them 6 innings on Friday, which is fine, but you gave up 5 runs to the Rockies.
Right. Yeah.
But why can't he go out there and, I sound like my dad, because my dad will call me and I'm like, Paul, I don't understand. You've told me in the past, and this is when I was a kid, I told him this. A pitcher's job is to throw strikes.
Right.
It's your job. Why can't you throw strikes? I said that to him when I was 15 years old, and he's just run with it. Now, I understand it's a little bit different than that. But the idea that why can't Dean Kramer go out there and do the same thing 3 out of 4 starts, give you 7 innings and 2 runs? Why can't he do that more consistently than he does?
When I'm looking at his stats, it might just be mental.
Like he gives up a big hit and then he falls apart type of thing?
I think he just So here, Colorado gave up 5 runs. Atlanta, a bad baseball team this year, gave up 5 runs. The Athletics, a bad baseball team this year, gave up 5 runs. Milwaukee, they're okay.
They had the best record in baseball a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so Milwaukee, 4 runs. Minnesota, 4 runs. Detroit, 5 runs. Completely understand that. Washington, 6 runs. Horrible baseball team. And then I'm not going to count April because that was just brutal. But Tampa Bay, 7. Went 7 innings, 1 run. Miami, 7 innings, 1 run. They were hot at that time. Tampa Bay, 7 innings, no runs. New York, 6 innings, 1 run. Tampa Bay, 5 innings, 1 run. Obviously, it's the White Sox, 6 innings, 1 run. But prior to that, Boston, 5.1 innings, no runs. Is he just letting himself down against these bad baseball teams? Because he's coming when it matters the most, and he's giving you a good outing. So, is it mental with Dean Kramer?
I think that there could be something to that. And you say when it matters the most. When it matters the most, if you're a good baseball team and you got a shot at the playoffs, and he's doing that against the teams that are clearly above you, that you're trying to catch, you're trying to hang with. When he's falling apart, it's against the teams that he should beat when the Orioles need something to get them going. They all matter, right? And I'm not trying to correct you. It's they all matter. And so when you need, you could have just swept the Rockies and been you know what? A good baseball team handles their business against a team like the Rockies. But then you see them lose that game. But they gave him a 4-0 lead, and he couldn't hold it. They gave him a 4-0 lead against the worst team in baseball history, record-wise, and he couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
That's demoralizing to your entire clubhouse, to your entire fan base. So, like, and I think that there's something to it. We're playing the Yankees tonight. I'm going to shove it down their throats. We're playing Tampa Bay. We're playing Boston. I'm going to shove it down their throats. We're playing the Athletics. We're playing the Rockies. I probably don't need to bring it tonight. No, bring it every damn time. I remember watching him. I was at a game where he gave up a 3-run homer. And then he struck out the next 3 guys on like 10 pitches. And he was averaging like 96. And it was all fastballs. And he averaged like 96 miles an hour on those fastballs because he was freaking pissed that he just gave up a 3-run homer. Start your game pissed.
So here it is. And I had to look this up. So his splits against teams over 500, he's got a 3.3 ERA this year in 58 innings. He's only given up 4 home runs. Dean Kramer, 4 home runs, 19 walks to 52 Ks.
And
teams below 500. What's that?
In how many innings?
52 Ks in 58 innings. 58.2. Okay. Teams below 500, 62.2 innings, 5.03 ERA with 12 home runs given up and 13 walks to only 47 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So, and he's given up 71 hits in 62 innings against teams below 500, 49 hits in 58 innings against teams above 500. It has to be mental with Dean Kramer.
It feels like he feels like he can take his foot off the gas against these teams. And maybe there's something to be said for, it's a long season. I've got to post up for 32, 33 starts. Let's not go out there at overly amped for every game. Let's pick and choose our moments. But man, when you're not picking when you're picking your moments to not give it your all, and you're pitching to a 5.0 whatever ERA against sub 500 teams, against teams that you should mop the floor with, that's a problem.
That's crazy.
That's how you get labeled a number 5 starter in Major League Baseball. Because number 5 starter will go out there and they'll give you once in a blue moon, they'll give you 7 innings of shutout baseball. And then they'll go out and they'll give you 5 innings of 6-run baseball. And that is exactly what Dean Kramer does.
That irritates
me. We have seen it. Dude, it is so infuriating.
It's even worse here. So I'm looking at averages now. Teams above 500 are hitting 228 against him with just a 629 OPS. Teams below 500 are hitting 278 with an 805 OPS. He's literally, I'm not going to make an assumption, but looking at the numbers here, he lets his foot off the gas.
Yeah. It's either that he lets his foot off the gas or...
I think the whole team does, though.
Yeah, for sure. Or you have to wonder, is it the other way? Is it he is easier on himself against the good teams? He puts less pressure because if they beat him up, they're supposed to.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the bad teams, oh man, I got to dominate this team. And then maybe he's overthrowing, and that's why he's walking so many guys. And maybe I got to get back in his count, leaves one right down the middle after he just walked a guy, and the guy hits a 2-run homer. Yeah. It could be one, it could be the other. It could be something we're not even talking about. But it is really, really interesting to learn what he's doing against bad teams as opposed to good teams. Totally two different pitchers.
It is. It's 2 different players almost. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's definitely nuts what he's been doing. Today's show brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Are you feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, they specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. You can call Game Day Men's Health at Owings Mills at 443-264-4454, Columbia at 443-266-3505, or Frederick at 240-931-3717, or visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and ask them about a complimentary testosterone test. Game Day Men's Health.
So here's let me finish off here with Dean Kramer. Six games so far against the AL East this year. 2.04 ERA with 10 walks, 33 Ks in 35 innings with just a 214 average against him with a 278 slugging. That's incredible.
Yeah. 278.
278 slugging.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, with an 85 left on base percentage and an xFIP of 3.63. So it's like we said, it's two different people. Two different people.
It's really interesting to see just how different.
He's only given up one home run against the AL East this year. It's speechless. Speechless, exactly.
He's got to be pitching against Toronto, right? Is he pitching game 2 or game 3? Let's see. He will probably be pitching.
I don't even know. I think so.
They play 4 against Toronto. They've got between Monday. He's definitely pitching on Wednesday.
He's going to get shit kicked in now because it's my fault because I just said all this.
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know who's
bet the house on Dean Kramer getting the loss that day.
Well, I think you might see Povich come up and make a start because you got 4 games against them, and you can't throw Rogers, you can't throw Sagano. It's going to be Eflin tomorrow, and you can't throw Kramer again until Wednesday because he just threw on Friday. So, who's pitching? Is it Morton?
They're probably going to send Cage Stroud down to bring in another arm. Povich will come up and make one start as a 27th man probably.
So I think he threw on Thursday.
Yeah, you've got Stroud and Geraldo or Geraldo or whatever that you can move around for another arm if you need to.
Yeah. By the way, I had no idea who Geraldo was.
You'll probably bring Brandon Young back for one of those, maybe.
Maybe. Didn't he just go? Well, I guess it doesn't matter if he's coming up to be the 27th man.
Yeah.
Somebody said that our rotation after the trade deadline is going to be Rogers, Sagano, Povich. What's his name? You literally just said Brandon Young and Dean Kramer.
I wouldn't be shocked if they give Roansy Contreras a shot.
But he's not on the 40 man, is he?
He is.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's been having an okay season in AAA. Not great, but I think they're going to at least see what they got out of him for a start or two.
He had a nice stretch there that you were talking about a few weeks back on the show. He had a nice stretch. But let's talk a little bit about the trade deadline coming up. The first domino fell a couple of weeks back when Brian Baker got traded to Tampa Bay for the 37th overall pick in the draft, which ended up becoming Slater DeBrun, who the Orioles just gave a ton of money to forego his commitment to Vanderbilt. Widely regarded as the best amateur high school outfielder in the draft. So the Orioles got a great player there. He's also a singer, rapper. I've never heard any of his music. Have you heard any of it?
I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of it. Probably not my style anyway. But
somebody did say that Povich is making another rehab start, and it's going to be Young as a 27th man. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So that was the first domino. The Brian Baker for the pick that ended up becoming Slater DeBrun, which is a great pick. The Orioles made a killing.
Didn't Baker get hurt yesterday?
Did he?
I think so. He left the game. I didn't see what though.
There are a lot
he
of
left
things
with trainers.
There are a lot of things I hope for. Baker getting
it was a right calf.
One of them,
thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the first domino. Then the next one was Gregory Soto. I learned about this trade on my drive home from the beach on Friday. Orioles trade Gregory Soto to the New York Mets. I love how they say 2-time All-Star, like he's been an All-Star since 2021.
That's been Detroit.
Yeah, right. He's traded to the Mets for Wellington, Aracena, and Cameron Foster. Now, Aracena is a 20-year-old who's been pitching, I believe, in high A.
Yeah, there's gas.
Throws absolute gas. And his ERA is something bananas. It's like 2. Right.
Yeah,
now.
I think somebody said, Steve Molesky pulled up his last 6 starts. It was like a .91 ERA or something like that. And he was sitting 2-3 mile an hour faster than he was sitting all year or something. They said they fixed something with him.
So this season he was 1-1 at high A for St. Lucie in the Mets system. 1-1 with a 2.38 ERA in 17 games and 8 starts, covering 64 and a third innings pitched. Had a 7.30 ERA between 2 different levels last year, 3.77 in rookie ball the year before that. But the guy throws absolute gas. Looks like they're probably going to want him to be a starter, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cameron Young. They get Cam Foster.
Cameron Foster.
Cameron
I liked him a lot.
26 years old, and he's only
Yeah.
in Double-A, right?
Yeah.
So
I think he was he was drafted in 2022. It was a small school. But I watched him June 1st. I was in Chesapeake, and he came in out of the pen through one inning and just made our guy. Now look, Chesapeake doesn't hit all that great, but he made our guys look stupid. And I made it a point to remember that name. I don't remember too many names when I go to those games, but I remember his name. And when I was praying, I was like, please get Cam Foster, like, because I've seen him before. He was a little bit older and like not really getting a shot. And I was just like, that's a guy that I feel like that Mike sees as a project that he could fix, because he's already got pretty decent stuff. And then I put it on Twitter. I was like, please get Cam Foster.
Yeah, he was 23 years old playing college ball.
Yeah.
23. So his first year was his age 24 season.
You got to remember the COVID year, though, because they didn't play, especially in McNeese State. They didn't play that year either.
So in 2020, he got 4 games in.
Yeah.
Before everything got shut down.
Or that was they opened it late, and they finished the season, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because Major League and minors was like all that too, I thought.
I think that they start their seasons in like late February, early March. And I think that every team got like 2 weeks of baseball in.
Maybe, yeah.
And then they were done after that, because Major League Baseball didn't start till the end of July. You don't have college baseball that late in the year. Everybody's on summer break. But pitched well at McNeese State. At Double-A this year, Cameron Foster was 4-1 with a 1.01 ERA in 19 games, covering 26 2/3 innings, had a .825 WHIP, 1.7 walks per 9, best of his career, 11.5 strikeouts. At the Double-A level, he got promoted to Triple-A. He made 2 appearances, 1 start, rocked 3 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a home run. Probably got to looking at maybe as a reliever, maybe because he's primarily been out of relief. He did make 16 starts in 18 games in 2023 for Brooklyn, but it looks like the Orioles are thinking of him as a reliever. 1.01 ERA in Double-A is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and look, this team needs relief pitching, and even if you're going to sit in the minors for another year, because like you and I talked about at the beginning of the show, where you go and you pay for 4 relievers, you still need those guys with options that can come and give you innings at some point in 2026. And I do think that, and we talked about it earlier on this year, about not having almost anyone in that bullpen besides Cano and Batista that had options, and how it was going to hurt. And I think that maybe Mike realized that, and he's going to get himself some options in that bullpen next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to. He's got to, because that's what you have to be realistic about, is that you're not going to sign 5 relievers.
Right.
You might sign 5 relievers, but not all 5 of them are going to be part of your bullpen. So you're going to have some internal options. And I do believe that they'll be banking on Tyler Wells being at the back end of their bullpen, Felix Bautista coming back healthy, because I don't think he's tradable at this point now. I think Cade Povich goes to the bullpen. I don't think you can expect to contend next year and have Cade Povich be a part of your starting rotation, especially if Trevor Rogers is there pitching the way he has as a lefty.
If Cade Povich can morph into what Keegan Aiken has given you over the years, and get outs in innings that, we start off just like you did with Aiken, when the games are out of hand, and you get a guy that can get you through and still give your offense a chance, and then you kind of morph into that, you start to take over that left on left role, because, you gain trust. Now, Aiken throws harder, obviously, but the splits with Povich in left-handed hitting is nothing to sneeze at. He gets him out. It's the righties that give him a problem. So if you can find that matchup, Povich can be a very valuable bullpen arm for you down the stretch. I just think they take that slow route with him. Long man, games out of hand or something like that first.
Yeah. And Keegan Aiken, as much as I've hated on Keegan Aiken, because I always felt like his numbers were a little bit skewed in his favor, because it seemed like he allowed a lot of inherited runners to score. I think he's only allowed 1 inherited runner to score this year, and
got a lot better.
He got a lot better at that this year. Like, he has been absolutely phenomenal. Of course, he got hurt, but he and Rutschman expected to be added back to the roster tomorrow before the series starts with Toronto.
I didn't even think about that. So you don't have Geraldo. So you're going to lose one of Geraldo or Stroud.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, I imagine it would probably be Geraldo because Stroud has a little bit more experience at the big league. But Geraldo hasn't a lot of run yet. And it's only 2 1/3 innings, but he hasn't a lot of run.
He's going to get an extended look after we trade half the bullpen here.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about Soto's gone, Baker's gone. I'm going to give you a list of names here. Each one, tell me if they stay or they go. Okay. Ryan O'Hearn.
Gone.
Mullins.
Gone.
Sir Anthony Dominguez.
He better stay.
I saw your post that you want him to stay. He's been really good for about a month now, maybe 2 months now.
His I pulled it up earlier. His last 20 outings. Since Brandon Hyde was fired. So his last 27 appearances, he's pitching to a 2.3 ERA with 37 Ks in 27 innings. So 10 more Ks in innings. He's been dominant.
Yeah. He has
been dominant.
It's funny though, man, because anytime the Orioles score a run and he comes in, he walks the leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
He and Soto would do that. Walk the leadoff hitter. You're like, oh, for the love of God.
He's given up 7 earned since Brandon Hyde was fired, and 3 of them were in that Boston game back in May 23rd.
Yeah, that 19-5 loss.
He's given up 4 runs since June 1st.
Yeah, essentially.
Keep him. Because like we just talked about, you need quality bullpen arms next year. What would you give him? A 2 or 3 year deal? Because I think he's 28?
Man.
You go
Here's the thing. If you're going to re-sign...
He's 30.
He's got to be my 7th inning guy.
I'm fine with that.
And you give a 7th inning guy more than $7-8 million a year?
I'd give him 12. Because he's also a guy who can pitch in the 8th and can pitch in the 9th. So he's not like just he's not a guy in his career when you give him those high leverage spots, he kind of falters. He's a guy who's pitched well in all 3 of those innings and even before that inning too. So, I mean, I think he's an interchangeable guy. And like Mansolino said the other night, like they went with Sir Anthony in the 8th because it was their 3, 4, and 5 hitters, or maybe 2, 3, and 4. I forget. But it was the better hitter, so they went with him, right? And he came in and he pitched well. So he's an adaptable bullpen arm. So I would go a little higher than that.
So 2 years with an option for a 3rd year?
I think that's fair. Maybe do 2 for 22 with an option for like another $11 million option.
Yeah, I mean, if that can get it done, I'm not. I don't know if it does. I'm not as big a believer in Dominguez as you are, but I do think that there's a role for him on a good team and a good bullpen if you use him correctly. Yeah, and that splitter is absolutely devastating.
It's only going to get better.
Can he consistently throw strikes is my main thing.
Yeah,
and can he keep the fastball down in the zone? Because when he leaves it up in the zone, it gets tattooed.
Well, I think the splitter has helped that this year because I haven't felt as nervous this year when he comes in a ball game as like I did last year. But adding that next pitch that comes in and looks like a fastball and then the bottom drops out, that changes everything. You can't just sit on that pitch anymore because he only had a 2-pitch mix, and then you add this 3rd pitch and all of a sudden it's one of the best pitches in all of baseball. You can't sit on the fastball anymore. Now you have to look for that, and then his 98 is going to squeak right on by you if you're not ready for it. So it's kind of revolutionized his game a little bit. And like I said, it's only going to get better next year. So I don't know. I wouldn't trade him. I think if you do, you're going to get a fairly good haul, which might be tempting, but then you lose the risk of not having him next year.
I do think it's interesting that Soto was the arm that got traded first, even though he is a lefty, and I totally understand that. It makes you wonder if they asked about Dominguez, but maybe the Mets I think also probably needed a left-handed reliever. And the Orioles know that they plan to contend next year and they need some high leverage arms.
Yep.
Which leads me to Andrew Kittredge got an option for next year. Think he's gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't been the guy that we thought we were getting.
Yeah.
He come in, he gets 2 quick outs, and then it's just like, okay, I walk a guy, and then I give up a bloop hit, and then I let up a couple runs. Like, he hasn't really had those shut down consistent outings like we thought we were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's making what 10, 15, 10?
I think isn't it like 12?
Might be.
Or maybe it is 10. For some reason 10 sounds right
10.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year, 10 million, base
An option
9
for next
million.
year.
Yeah, option next year. What's the option? That's the question. 9 million next year.
I think it's for another 10.
Maybe.
I think he
It says
signed
payroll 9, 10 total. Yeah, cumulative. There must be a $1 million signing bonus or something. I wouldn't do it. I'd trade him. Because that adds value to have that club option for next year. So if who you trade him to, that's considered under control, right? They get the option to do that. So instead of getting a late 30s top prospect or not ranked, now you get a guy who might sit at 18 to 22. Like that little option year makes a big difference in the return.
Right. And I agree with you. That's why when people talk about Michael King signed that 1 year deal with a 1 year option for next year with the Padres. Now he's not going to get traded. I thought, doesn't that make him more tradable?
Yeah.
If you do that, he ended up not getting traded. But like when you have that option, I think it makes you more tradable.
Why is San Diego listing Cease for sale?
Because he's been bad this year, and he's a.
I mean, have they fallen off that bad that they've fallen out of the standings?
No, I mean,
because that's a team that. I mean,
his ERA is like 4.63.
Still, like, do you think you're? I mean, if you're fighting for a shot here, do you think you're getting anything better than Cease right now?
I mean, they're tied. They're
in the wild card.
They're in the wild card. Technically, they're in the third wild card spot because the NL Central.
Yeah.
The two teams, the Cubs and the Brewers are tied with the same record. So right now, San Diego is the third wild card team, but they're only a game up on Cincinnati, 2.5 up on San Francisco. But Dylan Cease has like a 4.63 ERA, something like that. And I think that they're willing to trade him because they know that he's leaving in free agency at the end of the year. And if they can get some pieces, like they want a right-handed hitting outfielder. They want another starter. They probably want some relief help. If they say, "Hey, we're shopping him, give us your best package," I can understand that. You know, here's a question for you: do you make a trade for Dylan Cease, hoping that you can sign him if you're the Orioles?
No. Dylan sucks against the AL East.
Leads me to the next. What? You know what? You also said though that Toronto was bad. And they have,
but still to this day, I'm waiting for them to just fall apart.
God, how sweet would it be if the Orioles somehow took 3 out of 4?
Yeah,
against them. But they're playing.
But you know what they're doing? They're playing fundamental baseball, and they're having fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have ignored the pressure. And I was chatting with one of their fans in a different YouTube chat earlier. And the guy brought up a good point. They are playing so good right now. Is it even worth bringing someone else in and messing with that locker room juju?
Right.
Because I think they understand too that they're playing well above their means. Do you want to mess with it?
I think that signing Vladdy to that big deal kind of brought some ease to that clubhouse.
Maybe.
Because it shows that they're committed to that franchise.
Yeah.
You don't give him, 14 years, $500 million, something like that. You don't give him that kind of money if you're not committed to winning with that franchise. And I think it probably eased a lot of tension, took some weight off some guys' shoulders because they're like, oh, they do believe in us. They do want to keep these guys here. You know,
let me ask you another dumb question here. Tampa, only 3 games out, right? Did you see that they're listing Yandy Diaz?
So I saw people saying, I think I saw Ken Rosenthal. I read his article saying that the Rays are leaning towards being sellers.
This is why you'll never be good, like really good. You produce a lot of talent out of that organization, and you just ship them off the first minute you get a chance.
By the way, Yandy Diaz looks like he should hit 45 home runs a year, and he hits like 15.
Yeah.
He looks like
he just hits the ball over the ballpark.
Yeah.
He's such a tough out. Such a tough out. Do you think the O's make any kind of trades that we're not talking about?
Well, that's what I think. That's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
With this, so I kind of gave you the obvious ones. Charlie Morton. We both agree he's gone.
Yeah. For sure. I think Charlie's going to be pretty highly sought after by a few teams.
I think he is too. Tomoyuki Sagano.
I think so. I think somebody's probably going to see the overall metrics of what he's pitched this year. If he was tipping his pitches, they're going to know a hell of a lot faster than the Orioles are. And they know that is fixable. Where he gets in trouble is leaving the ball just in the middle of the plate sometimes. You can tip your pitch or not. If you just leave it in the middle of the plate, you're going to get hit. Yeah. But again, how confident are you as an organization that you could fix that down the stretch? God, you send him to San Diego, and I think he's going to pitch really good, especially with Darvish there already. And San Diego just seems to just take a lot and just make really good out of it. I wouldn't be shocked. I think someone, the package might not be amazing, but I think someone calls for him.
Zach Eflin.
Yes. Just because of his career, you know you're getting a fairly decent arm who can chew up some innings down the stretch here. And if someone goes down, you have a guy who can step in Game 3 of a playoff and get you through 4 innings probably.
And he gave up a couple of home runs to oh my God, I can't, left fielder for Cleveland. All-star.
David Fry? No.
It's Kwan. He gave
Kwan. David Kwan.
He gave up a couple of home runs to Stephen Kwan. He pitched a lot better. Or no, was that Morton?
That was Morton.
Oh,
yeah.
But Eflin pitched the other day. Eflin pitched a lot better than the 3 runs in 6 innings suggested that he pitched. I thought that he was really good, and I do believe that some team will look at him and say he was the star pitcher of the deadline last year, and we're going to take a chance on him.
You know who's going to take a chance? Probably Houston.
Yeah, I guess
they already work together. They need a little bit of pitching. They got a lot of guys hurt. So does the Dodgers, but I think Dodgers are going to go after some bigger fish for a little bit. Houston likes to always make that low-key trade that works in their favor somehow.
Ryan Mountcastle.
I think he stays. I think he's the everyday first baseman when he comes back. Sorry, Kobe Mayo.
Ramon Laureano.
He stays.
That's a tough option to give up for next year. That's a tough option to give up for next year. So now
you want Dylan Beavers next year. Look, if they're confident enough in Dylan Beavers to come up and not struggle, they're going to trade Laureano. But with Tyler O'Neill's injury history, and you don't know what you're getting out of Kowser for a full season right now, you don't know what you're going to get out of Dylan Beavers next year. The outfield market isn't the greatest in free agency. I think that's a guy you kind of have to hang on to.
So that leads to surprise trades. And for me, I think Colton Kowser could be, because I think you could still get a lot for him. And I believe it was you that was on my show that back in the fall that I said people will be coming at me with pitchforks and torches. But I think if you're going to trade somebody, trade Kowser now when his value is as high. He's fresh off winning coming in second place for Rookie of the Year. 24-homer rookie season has elite arm strength. He's a good defender at all 3 outfield positions. And then the way that he started this year, and he's not hitting well. He's hitting 215, 220. He's looked lost at the plate, but he's got light tower power. You can put him anywhere in the outfield, and he's got a cannon for an arm. You could get a haul for Colton Kowser. You could get a haul for Colton Kowser, and then you're talking about you've got Enrique Bradfield, Dylan Beavers. You've got
Fabian.
You've got
Fabian and Kowser are kind of the same player.
You've got some guys. You've got, if you hang on to Laureano, Tyler O'Neill can play the outfield. I don't understand why he ever steps foot out of the dugout if it's not to hit. You've got guys where you can afford to trade away Kowser, and somebody can say, well, they traded away Stowers, and look what he's doing this year.
Yeah,
and
Kowser would. He would. If he brings you back 3 really good arms.
Yeah,
I mean, what is this? This organization needs the most because they don't draft it enough. Is arms. Like they draft a lot of outfielders. Kowser is a good player, and I think you'll get back to the Colton Cowser that was drafted when he goes elsewhere to that 280, that 290. I'm not saying he's going to do this in the big leagues, but the guy that was in AAA that was hitting 280 to 300 something, and with power, but not a power hitter,
Right.
And then it seems like he got up here and it was, let's be a power hitter
Mm-hmm.
and strike out a lot, which I don't know if that's what they want out of him. I think another organization would change that. I don't know. I love Cowser. I would love to see him here for a while. But I'm with you. If somebody offers you, and I put it on Twitter talking about it would take 4 top prospects from San Diego. It actually got blocked by somebody. They were like, why would somebody give up 4, just because he has control, why would they give up 4 top 20 prospects? And I'm like, Josh Naylor just got 2 as a rental. Like, why is it a bad thing to think that Colton Cowser could get 4?
Yeah,
he's got 5 years control, 4 years control?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal when it comes to prospects.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I like Cowser too. I think he's great for the clubhouse. I think they all love him there. But the guy can't hit anything but a fastball right now. He's young, he's controllable, and there's going to be a team out there that thinks that they can turn him into an all-star outfielder.
And I bet you they could.
And they probably can. The Marlins are a laughingstock organization. Look what they did with Kyle Stowers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And then would you be shocked to see Adley Rutschman get traded?
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. But I also don't think that you draft 2 catchers with your first 2 picks, and you have Samuel Basallo coming up, and
Cree Williams is not too far off either.
Right, and then you've got Alex Jackson, who is a former first-round pick. He's got a strong arm. He's got a ton of power. Yeah, he's going to come back down to earth, right? Yeah. But right now, he's giving you more than what Adley's been giving you since last year. Now, right. In very limited sample size. I'm not saying that Alex Jackson is better than Adley Rutschman, but Adley Rutschman is going a full year proving to you that he's a 200 hitter, right? So could some other team will think, hey, we can get Adley back to being Adley. I think you could see. I don't know that you will, but I think you could see that trade happen.
Yeah.
None of this that would probably surprise me. He and Cowser would surprise me, but because I think that they're really high on both of them. But it also wouldn't surprise me because it kind of makes sense. Right.
Yeah, and I think teams are going to go back and look. So 2022 in Double-A, Cowser hit 341 with 10 home runs. Mm-hmm. And then in 2023, he hit 300 with 17 home runs in Norfolk.
He was hitting 330 at Norfolk when he got called up, and then he was so bad he lost 30 points in batting average the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah,
in Norfolk.
But then in the championship game, hit the walk-off.
Yeah,
but that was. I think another organization gets Colton Cowser back to that Colton Cowser.
Yeah.
That guy who hits per pretty good average. I mean, his slugging in 2023 was a 520 with a 937 OPS. And then he gets to the big leagues. I understand big league pitching is a hell of a lot harder, but let's be honest with ourselves here. This was a guy who did this in college. He did it in Double-A. He did it in Triple-A. What did you change? What did you tell him to change when he got to the big leagues? And why does he have to try and swing for that much power?
And again, I think this is why your 3-headed monster at hitting coach is gone.
Yeah.
And I think it's why they have to be gone. Because you can't spend a 2nd overall pick on Heston Kjerstad and a 5th overall pick on Colton Cowser and then have them be what they are.
Yeah,
that cannot happen. 2 top 5 picks. One of them it can't even hit 150 at AAA right now, and the other one is striking out 2 times a game and hitting 220 at the big league level. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
Adit wants to know if you had to put money on one team, not the Mets or Rays, that the Orioles will trade with. What would that team be, and who is the most likely trade chip going there? And I think we can both agree, probably the Padres.
Padres or Houston.
The Padres are Houston. Houston has been targeting Cedric Mullins. The Padres apparently reportedly very interested in Ramon Laureano. I think that they or the Dodgers want Ryan O'Hearn. And I know that the Padres are interested in Charlie Morton. I wouldn't be surprised to see a package go to the Padres of Morton and either Laureano or O'Hearn. I don't know what you're going to get back. I'd have to look into their roster. But I think the Padres and the Astros are 2 teams that the Orioles will almost certainly trade with.
And I think New York and Boston call him too for somebody in the bullpen, either Kittredge or Dominguez. I don't know if their package is going to be good enough, but they're going to call.
Right. I agree with you, but I would be shocked if the Padres don't make a deal with the Orioles. I don't know. Morton is the one who I'm the most confident is going there, and I've really come to like Charlie Morton. He was so bad that first month, but then how candid and open he was in that and thoughtful in that response when he was asked like what's going on, like that made me a fan of his. And then for him to turn it around right after that and be as good as he's been since basically the middle of May, I look at Charlie Morton and I'm like, I would love for him to finish out the season here. But it makes too much sense to trade him to not do it.
I would love him as a pitching coach.
Yeah,
because he's just so down to earth. Like he knows it's baseball. You're going to take your lumps, but you get the ball again 5 days later. Just go out there and shove it then.
No, and that's what he said. It was like, I know if I was throwing, if my velocity was way down, it's one thing, but my velocity's up, my spin rate's up.
Right.
I just, you know what I mean, like. I've really appreciated and respected his response. It made me really like him that much.
Yeah.
I do want to point this out. Slyster 59, and I was so hard on Rogers last year.
Everybody was.
We all were. That's why these people are like,
I used to get like different memes like every single day, like tagged in, like those little like chipmunks one when I said Rogers was going to be good. Those guys have been really, really quiet lately.
Well, I was super hard on Trevor Rogers because he hadn't pitched well since 2021. You had 3 seasons of sample size to see that he just wasn't the same guy as 2021. And for me, it's not that they gave up Stowers and Norby. I didn't know this. Nobody knew Stowers was going to do what he's doing, right? But I thought that they were both. I thought that Stowers was probably a 4th outfielder at best, and I thought that Norby was going to be an everyday player somewhere and probably hit 280. For a team. That's what I thought. And I thought that you could do better than Trevor Rogers for those 2 guys. Now it looks like this trade was fair. This trade looks like it was fair. And anybody who's sitting there saying 4 starts was not good enough of a sample size last year, and you guys are all eating crow and this, that, and the other, it's like, shut up. Because everybody, like, he sucked. He sucked and he dislocated his kneecap. We were all hard on him, and rightfully so. And now we're all apologizing, and rightfully so, because he's been that damn good.
I've said this a few times, and the problem with you got to be careful with Miami pitchers, and you got to wait because they don't rehab them correctly. And I'm not saying that they suck, but the guys just don't come back how they should. Look at Sandy Alcantara this year. When he leaves, you're going to see Sandy Alcantara again. Look at Luzardo. Luzardo's okay this season. He gets you a couple pretty decent outings, and then he gets shelled on a little bit. But for the most part, Luzardo's throwing the ball effectively. Rogers again. So Luzardo gets his year away from the Marlins. Doing okay. Rogers gets his year away from the Marlins. Pitching well again. There's something about their organization just doesn't get their arms back to where it was at one point. And look, if Alcantara goes to Boston or New York, like they're saying, you're going to look at another guy next year who's just filthy. So it's just Miami. You got to be patient with those guys when they leave there. Who's the other one that's coming back? Perez. Is it Yuri Perez or whatever?
Perez, yeah.
He's doing good right now. He's going to do better when he leaves. It's just I think Miami is just really good with the hitters. They're just really good with the hitters and the arms. I don't know what it is. Like they groom them, they get hurt, and they just can't get them back to where they were, and then they trade them. I don't know. So I kept trying to tell people just be a little patient because Miami just really sucks at this. We'll see. If Trevor can keeps it going, it could be a hot stretch, but like he said, baseball can humble you. So we'll see. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And look, I was probably the hardest on Trevor Rogers last year. I hated it. I hated the trade.
I think everybody did because he didn't help the 2024 Orioles. But I don't think Mike cared. Like Mike was looking for a guy that was going to help after that.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't dislocate his knee, he might have been doing this all year. We don't know.
Yeah. you have to wonder, but now we don't because he's here, and we're good with it for sure. I do want to Laura Topliff, she said, Adley to San Francisco.
Not over Patrick Bailey. They would never do that.
You don't think so?
No. Patrick's a damn good catcher, and it's hard to hit in San Francisco, so that would really suppress Adley's bat even more. But they're never going to sit Patrick Bailey down for Adley Rutschman behind the plate.
That's fair enough. I was going to say, give me Logan Webb, and you can have Adley Rutschman. I
wanted Logan Webb to start the year, especially because I thought Burns was going to go there, and I was like, man, if Burns goes there, maybe Webb is available. But I mean, they're pretty close. They're in the hunt. I don't think Logan Webb's going anywhere.
Yeah, no, they're like we were just looking at the Saints. They're only 2.5 games out of a wild card spot.
If they were 6, maybe, because he's under control. That would have been a guy I would have maybe chased, but I don't know. It's gonna be fun.
When I said Zach Britton should be the bullpen coach, you guys jumped down my throat saying former players don't mean they will be good coaches. Now you guys are saying Charlie Morton will be a good pitching coach for us.
Not everybody can coach. It's just because you're a good player doesn't mean that you can actually get somebody else to do it too. Charlie just seems like that guy that can pull it out of somebody. Zach was a really good player. I don't know what he would be like as a coach because he never gave those kind of in-depth interviews. Charlie just seems like a guy that you just know that he would leave the game and just be really good in the dugout again. Kind of like, the Molinas and stuff like that. I don't know. He just strikes me as that guy. He just strikes me as that guy.
Again, it's the responses, the not shying away from the media when he was pitching poorly. He posted up at his locker after every single start when he was pitching to a 10.5 ERA the first 6 weeks of the season. The responses were thoughtful. You could tell that he really wanted to be there and really wanted to get the job done, and he just couldn't figure it out. But he also had the confidence that he would, and the way that he spoke about it. I don't know if he'd be a good coach, but he says and does the things that make you think that he will be, and he has been so widely respected in every clubhouse that he's ever been in. It makes you wonder, like Ryan Flaherty was not a good baseball player. I mean, he was a good baseball player. He was at one point he was one of the best 750 players in the world, right? But as far as Major League Baseball is concerned, he wasn't a great baseball player, but everybody thinks he's going to be a phenomenal manager. Why? He wasn't a good player. Why would he be a good manager? There's just some people that know how to coach. And he seems to come across that way. Charlie Moore seems to come across that way. Now look, Buck Britton, hell of a coach. Maybe Zach Britton has that same DNA. You never know.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
But we're also not in the business of saying Zach Britton had maybe the greatest season in the history of relief pitching. He should be a pitching coach. He also had the best pitch in baseball that year. John Keller, I practically spit my drink out when Paul said they have to spend $500 million. When have they ever done that? Seriously, Paul's a better chance hitting Powerball. Look, if they spend $500 million, I'm playing some numbers.
That is the Powerball for all of us.
Yeah, right. I'm playing some numbers. I said it because it's like it feels like that's what they're going to have to.
You're going to have to spend a lot to. But if you're serious about competing in 2026, like you say you are, but yet you're about to fire off pretty much everybody, and we all know how many free agents they have. Like you have to spend something. You can dumpster dive all you want. I mean, you've been doing it for years. If you're serious about contending, especially if somebody like New York lands Alcantara, you are going to have to do something. And if you don't, I think you're getting fired at this point.
Yeah, and we're being realistic about this. Do I think they will spend $500 million? Absolutely not.
No.
But should they be willing to spend $250, $300? I mean, they spent about $100 million this past offseason on players that we hated. So like for them to spend $250 to $350 million this coming off season, spending it wisely in the right places to get like you can get a starting pitcher or two and a legitimate middle of the order bat.
Our payroll right now is what, 166 adjusted. That payroll is going to have to be 175 plus because you're losing a lot of these guys, but you're gonna have to be over 175
between the raises and arbitration.
I might even say 190 because the arbitration itself is going to push you near. Well, you are losing a lot of guys, but arbitration is going to go up for several key players.
2016, 2017 Orioles had payrolls in the 160, 165
Yeah.
range, and that was middle of the pack. That was like 15th in the league.
And I think that's what we are now.
And that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If you want to be a contender, I think you've got to have a payroll close to 200 million.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So it says cash total is 204 this year, but adjusted is 166.
I have no idea what the hell
I think that's because you're paying Chris Davis, Bobby Bonilla, stuff like that. But it's still only ranked 15th regardless. Yeah. So like you said, you're going to have to creep up pretty close to 200 and get in that top 8 range if you're serious about contending in 2026.
Do you have an issue with how absent David Rubenstein's been since the start of the season?
As an owner, no, because they should be out of it all together anyway. But he made himself available almost too much in the beginning, and now him being a normal owner just looks bad on his part because of how everything's going. I think I'm more concerned with how absent Mike Elias has been, more than anything.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. We have no idea what the conversations are going on in the clubhouse, going on in the front office. I mean, for all we know, Rubenstein went to Elias and said, "It's either Brandon goes or you go. Choose." You know, it could have been, but maybe he didn't. We have no idea what those conversations are. I cannot imagine that you have 3 billionaires. And again, I get it that owners don't care about wins and losses so much because they're going. If you own a professional sports franchise in one of the 4 major sports, your team's going to make money.
Yeah,
hand over fist, like it's going to happen. But you also don't make that kind of money without being competitive, right? And having guys like Grant Hill and Cal Ripken as part of the ownership group, super competitive. I cannot imagine that this ownership group's just okay with losing baseball games.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine. So I have to believe that the heads are going to roll if something doesn't happen this offseason.
Well, it's like all businessmen. They're in it to make money. And to make money, you have to have a successful product. And when it's not successful, they get rid of it. You know, they cut their ties as quickly as possible to minimize the amount of negative equity that they have. They're going to find a way to maximize their profits here, in one way or another. And I think 2026 is going to be really aggressive. If Mike even makes it there, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, look, businessmen don't lose money often, and they're losing a lot of money right now with fans not in butts and seats.
Well, but that's the thing is that people are saying like, I don't know how I didn't go to school for this, so I don't really know exactly how it works, but it seems like they're going to make money from the Orioles regardless. But that's the thing. Do you really think that the 3 billionaires are content making $55 million this year when they can make way more than that? Don't you think they want to maximize the return?
That's why they're where they are in life, because they find a way to maximize it. They're not going to sit around too long.
Yeah, you're making good money right now. Imagine how much more money you can make if your team's a World Series contender year in and year out. So,
and I don't think they're dumb. Like these guys are guys that look at charts all day long and find out how to maximize their profits. They're looking at teams who have won the World Series and or have been there and seen their profit margins, and they're going to find a way to do it. Yeah, they've got nerds sitting there looking at these papers all day long.
They've got to hire, in my opinion, you've got to hire a manager that has full control over the clubhouse and the roster.
Yeah. And
has a feel for the game. That's not a yes man that just listens to what a computer screen tells him. You've got to have feel for the game. Kyle said, I still don't think firing Hyde wasn't the best idea. I don't know what you mean by the way you worded that. You still don't think firing Hyde was the best idea? Is that what you mean? Or you
probably?
For me, he was a yes man who did what a computer screen told him to do. I don't know that he had much. It didn't feel like he had much feel for the game.
No,
and they have to hire somebody. I have no idea who that guy's going to be. You speculated that it could be John Mabry.
Maybe.
But not you. I'm sorry. I was listening to the Big Bad Morning Show. They speculated that it could be John Mabry.
I don't think he wants it. I think he's really content being like an advisor or like staying with the hitting. My favorites, and it's going to be hard to do. People seem to like Skip Schumacher. Okay, if you want to go that route, bring in Skip, bring in Alan Craig to be your hitting coach, and let Mabry stay in that advisor role. So between him and so Mabry coached Alan Craig back when Alan Craig was a monster and set the postseason record for average or whatever it was, like 423 or whatever he did. And then he has the major league record for average with runners in scoring position, which was over 400 in one season. Let those two guys work together, and then you kind of keep that St. Louis tie. I don't know who you would go with pitching coach. I think Drew French needs to get out of here personally. They've made some guys pick. I mean, obviously, look, Trevor Rogers has figured it out. And if they want to give credit to Drew French for that, I'll give it to him. I'll tip my cap to him because it's been great. I just think go another route at this point because 1 out of 10 isn't good enough for me.
Yeah. I don't know if Drew French is going to go or not. I think like
all you get a new manager, I think he's gone.
Well, yeah, if you're getting a new manager, you're bringing in a guy that has experience. Who's going to want to bring in his guy, his staff. He wants to bring his guy in. In each position. So I think that they said that they're not making any more changes to the coaching staff the rest of this season. Yeah. I think they completely clean house at the end of the season. I think they
may keep Buck Britton around, and maybe Chirinos.
I think Britton and Chirinos, because it's both of their first years as big league coaches, and I think that a lot of people believe that they're future big league managers.
Yeah,
and I think that so those guys, they're the only guys who I firmly believe their jobs are safe.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I think, is gone. I think everybody else is gone.
And, I think that's a fair assessment.
And somebody said this to me, and it made so much sense. You can't keep Manzolino. No. Manzolino is gone after the season. If he's not managing your ball club next year, and all the stuff that he said he should not be managing his ball club next season, you can't have him here. He can't slide back into a coaching role because, one, even though he had no desires to be a big league manager, now that he has been, is he going to be able to take that step back to a lesser role?
I think he wants to, personally. I just don't know if – I think Buck's a better third base coach.
I don't think that I think he is too. And I don't think that you can have somebody who was a manager here this year and have him potentially inadvertently undermine the new manager.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
If he's got players that are comfortable with him and they're not liking something that the new manager's doing, you can't have those players going to Tony Manzolino.
And he'll get a job quickly.
He will.
Because he's done a good job here, and he was decent on the base pass. I think he would go to another successful franchise pretty fast, I think.
Do you think that Brandon Hyde manages in Major League Baseball again in anything other than an interim role?
Probably not.
I don't think so either.
No, I really don't think that he's going to be like Bo Porter. Well, he'll be on a staff at some point and he'll help. But the only time you'll ever see him managing is when somebody gets thrown out.
Yeah. Or fired in the middle of the season. So, anything else you want to get into tonight, man?
I thought I saw one. I can't remember. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to circle back to what we talked about really early in the show with the offense and trusting them too much. You can't go into 2026 trusting this offense anymore.
You can't.
Like, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. They have all regressed this year in some way. I think you got to shake it up a little bit.
I mean, you go and you just look at Gunnar.
I don't think you trade like a Jordan Westberg. And I seen somebody else ask about Urias if he was going to get traded. Same thing. I love Westy. He seems to be an injury magnet with just getting hit by pitches all the time or something stupid.
Sliding into it's bad luck more than anything.
It is. But Urias finds a way to step in and help the team get by every time. And he's still a couple more years control. Yes, he's 30. I do think he could be a starting third baseman in this league for another franchise that didn't have Jordan Westberg playing there. But if you can keep him, why not? Like you can't trade everybody. You got to keep good players on your roster. And I feel like Ramon Urias is a good player. And if you got him under control and you're not getting somebody's like a good arm in return, keep him. I wouldn't trade him.
I think his job is very safe because he's got you're gonna want to give Westbrook days off. You're gonna
Right.
want to give Holiday days off. They gave Holiday a day off today,
And he
and
plays first.
You don't have anybody else to play that position.
Right.
Unless you want to bring up Luis Vasquez again.
Yeah, which I don't.
Or
Soto, which I don't.
And when's Mateo coming back? And
oh God,
Mateo's bad. Like we forget that Mateo's part.
I was enjoying baseball, not having to. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to go that bad. I was enjoying baseball, not watching Jorge Mateo play. I shouldn't have said that, but I did.
As bad as this season has been, not having
somehow if he wasn't hurt, he'd be starting every day as a 2-hole hitter somehow.
He would be batting ninth. I will at least give them enough credit to say that he would be batting ninth.
Somehow he'd be hitting 2.
He'd find his way into the lineup 4 times a week because he always does. He's like herpes. He just doesn't go away.
Did they trade Heston Kjerstad?
Do I think they traded Heston Kjerstad?
I think teams still see him. I've seen everybody say he has no value. There's a difference when teams know they can fix your guy. They still value you as a player. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's a prime example that it's going to go somewhere else and get fixed.
Maybe. I don't think he gets traded. My gut tells me he's not getting traded this year.
I see him as a Ryan O'Hearn, where he's DFA'd and traded for cash considerations at one point and then just figures it out somewhere else.
Man, but being a Ryan O'Hearn is still a failure for a career.
It is.
For Heston Kjerstad. When you're the second overall pick and you're expected to hit 30, 35 home runs a year.
Do you think that would be a failure on him or the Orioles?
Both.
If he went somewhere else and figured it out.
If he goes somewhere and figures it out to the point where he's worthy of that number 2 overall pick, it's a failure on the Orioles 100%.
Yeah.
If he goes somewhere and he figures it out to the point of Ryan O'Hearn, it's a failure on both.
Yeah.
It's a failure on both.
Yeah, I mean, O'Hearn was an 8th rounder. Obviously, that's not as good as the 2nd overall, but it's still a good draft slot.
And he was an 8th rounder when they still had like 40 rounds.
Right. So I mean, I just think he's going to go somewhere else. I think Pittsburgh looks at him hard, whether that be now or next year, or the offseason. I think everyone in baseball identifies as somebody that's going to just go somewhere else. They'll eliminate the leg kick. They'll get it figured out, and he'll hit 230, 240 with 30 home runs. Yeah, which I think is acceptable in today's game.
I agree. By the way, somebody told me, Andrew Hartman just said, Westy is a big glue guy. We need him. Somebody tried to tell me the other day that Jordan Westbrook can get traded because he is not a starting player on a contending team.
Okay.
And it blew my mind.
Seattle would trade Logan Gilbert for him.
He starts on every team in Major League Baseball. He starts for every single team.
Whether that be at third base or second base, I don't think it matters. He literally just made the All-Star team.
Or they figure out a way to get him to turn him into an outfielder, if that's where they needed him, because he's an athlete. Jordan Westbrook starts for all 30 big league teams
somewhere,
and teams would jump off a cliff to get him on their roster. Yeah. They absolutely would. The fact is that this person said that to me, I was like, I can't have this conversation with you.
No,
I can't. I cannot.
I argued with Seattle fans on the offseason this year, and they were like, well, he only did this last year and just did this. And I'm like, he would have been second on your team last year in home runs and on base percentage and missed 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
And still would have been second best on your team. Yeah. Like, Jordan Westbrook is going to be good. I said it at one point. I thought he would be an MVP candidate this year if he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
And in games he plays like it, but I mean, he's not consistent enough for an MVP yet. But he still is just a damn good baseball player. I think it's really fair to say that he's J.J. Hardy reincarnated. A lot of people say it out loud. I think it's really fair to say. Yeah, better athlete, yeah, but just that guy who doesn't care about the spotlight. He just makes the play when it's hit to him. He just seems to just be a tough out at the plate. He's got power. It's just – and JJ really never got the love he should have early on in his career because He had a couple really, really solid years in
It,
Milwaukee and then came here and did really well too.
he was really good his first 3 or 4 years in
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Really good. When they traded for him, they traded for him and they traded for Mark Reynolds at the winter meetings in 2010. And I was like giddy as a schoolboy when they did that. I was like, I was so happy about it. And then they both hit 30 plus home runs that year. Like, that was awesome. It was probably one of my favorite winter meetings. AJ, dude, this guy always has to bring up the Pirates. I hate them. They beat us twice in the World Series. I hate their football team. Screw them. No, we don't trade Kjerstad to them. I mean, they suck at
want
baseball.
Him, though. They want him.
They probably want him. You can probably get Mitch Keller for him. I don't have an issue with trading with the Pirates. It's not like you have and that was almost 50 years ago that they beat you in the World Series. Like, we haven't even been to a World Series since '83. Like, I will forever hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will never be a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I mean, if they give you the best package.
I hate their sports teams, but life is good when their ball teams are playing well. The rivalry is awesome, and their sports fans are great for the sport, for football and for baseball. And I hate to even admit that because I hate the Steelers. But when both those teams are playing good, you remember a couple years ago when the Pirates made that wild card game and how freaking loud the stadium was when the catcher, I forget his first name, but Martin. Russell Martin hit that home run and they went ballistic. Like, that they have good fans, man. Like,
that team won 98 games.
Right.
And they played a 1-game wild card because the Cubs won like 100 and the Cardinals won like 102. You win 98 games and you're the second wild card team.
Yep.
Like,
Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely crazy. I want to talk a little bit. I know that we were about to get out of here, but just talking about players that have regressed. Gunnar Henderson. He's hitting 281, which is what he hit last year. The walks are down. The slugging percentage is down. The OPS is down. He was trending in the right direction. He went, 6.1 WAR, 28 home runs, 82 RBI, 814 OPS, 125 OPS plus in 2023. 2024, 9.1 WAR, 37 homers, 92 RBI, 281, 364, 529 with 893 OPS and a 156 OPS plus. This year he's got he's worth 3.2 wins. 3.2 wins. He's got 11. He's got 38 RBI. He's been hitting the 3-hole for 3 months.
Yep.
He's got 38 RBI. That's
Dude,
awful.
I'm checking it right now because I wanted to look at it. It's been a couple weeks since I looked at his swing path, but I'm looking at his stance right now. So let me see. Last year, he was 24.9 inches depth in the box. This year, he's 26. So he's a little bit farther back in the box. He's 0.2 inches, so 0.2 of an inch closer to the plate this year. He's closed his stance a little bit by 2.8 inches, and he's open another 2 degrees this year. Is that the difference?
The fact that he's 2 inches further back in the box and he's consistently hitting hard ground balls.
Well, it's funny that I just saw that because when I last looked a couple weeks ago, he was hitting the ball 1 to 2 inches farther back in the zone this year than he was last year. And the difference was hitting it directly on the front of the knee and then this year just behind it. And where do you hit the lift on the ball? Out in front. So is that little change screwing him? I feel like they would have had to fix that by now, but it's the Orioles, so I don't know.
Right. I do want to address this one comment. AJ said, hey, we would have 5 rings instead of 3 right now if it wasn't for Clemente and Stargell. Yeah, we would still have none since 1983.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So if you take autoplay off, he's literally making contact. So the swing and the path and all looks the exact same. The attack angle is literally the same. It's 10 degrees. The swing path tilt, same as last year, 32 degrees. So everything was the exact same. He was literally just making contact off his front foot last year. And this year, it's like just behind the knee. I might have to do a little video about that. But it's little things like that in baseball. Little things.
You know what the crazy thing is? Every time that you bring something like this up. He did it with Charlie Morton. They fixed it about his arm slot. They fixed it. He did it with Kobe Mayo about his hands. They fixed it. Do something. We need
Sagano
you,
tipping
Zach
pitches.
Moore, to Sagano tipping pitches. We need you to fix Gunnar Henderson so he has 15 home runs the rest of the year.
Dude, just move yourself back up in the box. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
At this point, like, I don't even know. Like, and look, the normal fan will look at it and say, dude, 2 inches, like, come on, that's not making a big deal. But it is in baseball. Like, the game is, they say football is a game of inches. Baseball is a game of centimeters. Like, the difference between hitting the barrel, a round ball with a round bat directly in the middle, is the difference of centimeters.
Yeah.
So 2 inches can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. By the way, today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. All summer long, County Sports Zone is keeping you updated on high school sports news. CountySports.zone is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Also, we're in the final few weeks of the Press Box print issue. On the cover, we profile Baltimore's first ever Basketball Hall of Famer, speaking to the people who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and our annual summer travel section shows you the sports events and activities your family should check out all summer long. You can find the new issue all throughout the region, including at 60 Rural Farm stores, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com.
So I am looking at between this year and last year. Last year, he had an attack angle at 8 degrees. This year, it's 9. Doesn't sound like much. His swing path tilt this year is 29 degrees. Last year was 31. So he was getting more lift on the ball and catching it out in front of his leg like you're supposed to, and he was getting the lift on the ball. This year, it's a little flatter, and he's catching it a little deeper, and he's getting topspin.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, did they see something with him in the second half, and they were like, hey, we think that you'll hit more line drives and ultimately more home runs if you do this, and we move you here. We mess with this, and we mess with that. Or do you think it's one of those things where he was kind of like realizing, I'm not getting big hits? Because he's getting big hits now. He's getting hits in clutch situations now. And do you think that maybe he changed something up to make better contact?
I bet you they didn't say a word to him.
You don't think so? You think it's something he did?
I think he probably went home and said, and he did. He struggled really bad on outside pitches last year with 2 strikes. And you and I talked about how many of them does he freaking look at, and then he argues and they're right on the damn black every time. Mm-hmm. And he thinks they're way out there. Part of me wonders, okay, did he step back just a little bit more just to see that ball a little bit longer, and now everything's screwed up? And they thought Gunnar Henderson just lit the world on fire last year. Let's not mess with anything. So they haven't looked at him at all. Possible.
That honestly, that might be fair. If they did say something to him, it was him going to them, and that's when they started being like, well, maybe if you take a step back and you stand a little bit closer, and then that pitch won't look as far outside to you.
Right.
Like, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a really fair assessment.
And because he still misses some of them balls out this year, and you see him every time. He's like, oh, come on, and the ball's right there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Getting late. Anything else you want to get into tonight?
Nope. I think our next show is going to be jam-packed. I mean, what's today? The 27th? When's the trade deadline? Wednesday? Thursday, the 31st. So Sunday is going to be an interesting show. Lots to talk about with new players in the system, players leaving. Where does that set us up for 2026? Another
Bradish start to talk about? Probably Wells.
Yeah, I'll be there. Like I said, I'll be there Tuesday when he starts in Chesapeake. And then Wells gets the Wednesday game. So that's exciting. So we might see Bradish in mid-August. I would say probably three more rehab starts, probably.
They gave Means like 8.
Yeah.
When he
came he's already had just one then?
He's had just the one. I imagine that we'll see.
So maybe the end of August. Yeah, they have nothing to play for at this point. You might as well just slow roll.
5-6 big league starts. You know what I mean? Because he only threw 2 innings. They probably going to want to get him up to 85 pitches before they're comfortable bringing him up.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Next week's show is going to be good. Sunday. Lots to talk about. So make sure you guys tune back in. This team's going to look a lot different by Thursday. A lot different. And guys are on the way. Guys are coming back. Guys are going to leave. The farm system is going to look a hell of a lot different. Look, we might be known as a team that actually has a whole bunch of pitching to go through. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm super excited because I think Beavers is here on Friday. I think Beavers
Hopefully.
is here by Friday.
I've said it several times, and look, I joke about it when I type it about Samuel Basayo coming up around the 15th of August, but it's really starting to look like they're protecting that PPI. And long term, we're going to appreciate that when we get a first round pick and hopefully turns into a very good player. Just right now, I understand the frustration of the fans, but long term, like, how can you complain about a guy that's going to help you? Just we all expect Samuel Basayo to be up in the Rookie of the Year next year. Yeah. So, I mean, why not take a shot and get that first round pick? I get it.
And wouldn't it be something if they do sign that big middle of the order bat and then Kobe Mayo and Samuel Basayo prove themselves to be
right? And then you have a 3-4-5 hitter, and then all of a sudden Tyler O'Neill's hitting sixth. Let me tell you, Tyler O'Neill hitting in the sixth hole would probably be really damn good.
Yeah,
really good.
With Adley batting seventh. All right.
Even better. Better.
That's going to do it for us here on the Bat Around. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, we don't have a show. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners, viewers, fans. Without you, we 100% do not have a show. Until next week when we're going to have a monster show.
See ya.